She hit the ground so hard she couldn't even brace herself, and the woman who did it was already posting on social media before the game even ended. What you're about to see is one clean basketball play that turned into a national argument about race, favoritism, and who the WNBA is actually protecting. A flagrant foul. An ejection. A furious locker room post. And by the end of this video, an NBA name will step into the story too, but maybe not the one you're expecting, and definitely not for the reason you think. Stay with me, because the twist in the middle of this story is the part almost nobody is talking about. Before we go further, if you're the kind of fan who wants the real story instead of the recycled clickbait version everyone else is uploading, do yourself a favor and hit subscribe right now. This channel digs past the headlines and checks the facts before putting them in your feed, and honestly, if you care about getting the truth instead of getting played, you owe it to yourself to be part of this. Turn on notifications too, because this story is still moving. Let's set the scene. Saturday, August 8th, United Center, Chicago. The Indiana Fever walked in at 20-12, fighting for playoff position, and squared off against the Chicago Sky. Early in the first quarter, Sophie Cunningham took off on a fast break. Open floor, nobody in front of her, an easy 2 points waiting at the rim. Then DiJonai Carrington came flying in from behind. Instead of going for the ball, her left arm swept straight across Cunningham's face and neck. Cunningham never saw it coming. She crashed to the floor and couldn't even get a hand down to break the fall. The shot still somehow dropped through the net, but nobody in that building was thinking about the basket anymore. Officials called it a common foul in the moment. Then they sent it to review, and that's when everything changed. The call got upgraded to a flagrant 2, and Carrington was ejected on the spot. Officials explained afterward that the wind-up, the impact, and the follow-through all pointed to excessive force, exactly the standard the league uses to separate a hard foul from a dangerous one. Cunningham popped up furious and went straight at Carrington. Teammate Michaela Timpson stepped in fast to keep it from turning into something bigger. Security pulled the two apart, and Carrington walked toward the tunnel still shaking her head. Now here's where the story splits into two completely different directions, and this is the part that made it national news. Within minutes, while the game was still going on, Carrington posted from the locker room on Threads. 2 words, white privilege, tagged straight at the Indiana Fever. She followed it with the date, August 23rd, the next time these two teams play each other. Sophie Cunningham didn't wait for anyone to speak for her. She walked into her press conference and answered it herself, word for word. Clearly, I think it was like unnecessary. I've never really spoken to her and have no beef with her, but I guess she has some pent-up stuff. So, get your expletive off. That's fine. I can take it. She wasn't done. Cunningham pointed out that Fever games pull massive national viewership right now, and suggested Carrington was chasing that spotlight. Then she shut down the race angle completely, bringing up her own ejection from last season for a hard foul on J.C. Sheldon. Her exact words, "This has nothing to do with race. Last year I did the same thing, and I got kicked out, and I deserve to get kicked out. There's no reason to even play that card." Read that again, because that's the whole argument in one sentence. Cunningham got punished for a hard play last year and owned it completely, no excuses, no deflection. Watching Carrington reach for a race explanation right after an ejection looked to a lot of people like exactly what Cunningham called it, a deflection. And here's a detail that made it worse for Carrington's framing. Former NFL player and sports commentator Emmanuel Acho publicly pushed back too, arguing the ejection was simply a basketball call, nothing more. But was this really the first time Carrington had crossed a line with a Fever player? Not even close, and this next part is where the pattern really starts to show. Rewind to September 2024, first round of the playoffs, Connecticut Sun against Indiana. Carrington was defending a pass and caught rookie Caitlin Clark right in the eye, leaving her with a visible black eye for the rest of the game. No foul was called on the play. Carrington said afterward she didn't even realize she'd hit her, insisting it wasn't intentional. Slow-motion replays later went viral, with some fans convinced the follow-through looked far too deliberate to be an accident, a debate that never fully died down. Then came 2025. Carrington picked up multiple flagrant fouls across the season, including one where she chased down Skylar Diggins on a fast break and made contact with her head, sending her hard to the floor for another flagrant call. Line up the eye poke, the flagrant fouls, and now the clothesline on Cunningham, and a pattern starts to look less like bad luck and more like a style of play that keeps landing on the same handful of players. So where does an NBA name actually come into this? Not the way you might expect. It wasn't Steph Curry who fired off some big statement about jealousy in the league. That part of the story you might have seen floating around online simply isn't true, and we're not going to feed you a fake headline just to keep you watching. What actually happened is smaller, but it's real, and it still made noise. It was Steph's brother, Seth Curry, an NBA veteran in his own right, who reacted publicly. He noticed how fast Carrington had posted from the locker room, while the game was technically still happening, and wrote on his verified account, "Threads from the locker room after the ejection is comedy." That's it. Short, dry, a little bit savage, but it spread fast, because an NBA player publicly calling out the timing of that post added weight to what fans were already saying online. Now here's the part of this story that really tells you what the league itself believed, whether it said so directly or not. Later in that same game, Caitlin Clark picked up a technical foul in a physical, chaotic sequence. That technical mattered more than it looked, because it would have been close to the threshold that triggers an automatic suspension under WNBA rules for repeated technicals in a season. Within hours of the final buzzer, the WNBA reviewed it and rescinded the technical completely. Sit with that for a second. The league corrected Clark's technical fast. But Carrington's ejection and flagrant 2 stood without a second thought. When the people actually running the league make two very different decisions on the very same night, that tells you something about which call they actually believed was justified. Not everyone read the play the same way, though, and that's part of why this kept trending for days. Fever head coach Stephanie White said afterward she agreed with the flagrant 2 call, but also said she didn't believe Carrington intentionally went for Cunningham's neck, calling her a hard-nosed competitor who plays with an edge. That take frustrated a lot of fans who felt a coach defending the player who hurt her own player sent a strange message, and clips of Caitlin Clark's visibly uncomfortable reaction to those comments went viral in their own right. And through all of it, the basketball almost got forgotten. Final score, Fever 90, Sky 86. Kelsey Mitchell dropped 27 points and set a WNBA record, scoring 20 or more points in 16 straight games. Caitlin Clark finished with 26 points and 11 assists, shooting 5 of 6 from 3. The win pushed Indiana to 20-12, keeping them near the top of the Eastern Conference as they head into their next matchup. So walk away from this with the full picture, not the version built for clicks. A dangerous foul got the right call. A defensive player turned to a race explanation within minutes of getting ejected, and it didn't hold up against her own history or her own past comments about the play not being intentional. Cunningham handled the moment with more composure than almost anyone expected. And the next time these two teams meet, on August 23rd, every camera in the building is going to be locked on both of them. If this breakdown actually gave you the real story instead of the recycled version, that's exactly why this channel exists, and that's exactly why hitting subscribe now means you won't miss what happens when these two teams face off again. Drop a comment and tell me straight, do you think Carrington's explanation held up, or was it a deflection? I'll see you in the next one.